Welcome, the Northman Coaching Podcast with Gary and AJ. Thanks for tuning in. Building a better you, shoulder to shoulder, brick by brick. Let's go.
Men, divorce hits like a storm, leaving wreckage behind. This isn't about fixing the past. It's about forging the future. Start building the foundation for the man you're becoming. Take time to reflect and rise to each challenge. Get the free ebook, The First 30 Days. The first 30 days will help you survive the shock, stabilize your emotions, protect your peace and sanity, reclaim your strength. Northman Coaching and the Northman Brotherhood. Get your free ebook.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're listening from, welcome back to the Northman Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Gary. Today, we are talking about a value that many people want, but very few people actually understand. That value is balance. Now, most people hear the word balance and they think equal time, equal energy, equal attention. They even imagine a perfect level scale where everything in life receives the same exact amount of focus. But that's not balance. Balance is not giving everything equal attention. Balance is giving the right things the right attention and the time they deserve at the right time. Life isn't a perfectly balanced scale. It's more like juggling. Some balls are made of rubber. Some balls are made of glass. If you drop a rubber ball, it'll bounce back. If you drop a glass ball, it shatters. The wisdom comes from knowing the difference. And that's where many men struggle. We spend years chasing one thing while neglecting everything else. Sometimes it's work. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes it's fitness. Sometimes it's ministry. Sometimes it's even personal growth. The problem isn't that these things are bad. The problem is when one good thing becomes so important, it causes everything else to suffer. That's not balance. That's obsession. And obsession always comes with a cost. I know my good friend Cliff Shuffler will disagree, but that's okay. Cliff is a great guy. He's also a life coach. He's the founder of the DSM Factor. Check out his content on TikTok at CE Shuffler or his website, ceshuffler.com. Now, think about the seasons of your life. How many times have you told yourself, once I get through this busy season, then I'll focus on my health. Once I make more money, then I'll spend more time with my family. Once things settle down, then I'll deepen my relationship with God. But life doesn't settle down. There's always another challenge, another responsibility, another deadline, or another problem to solve. Balance isn't always something you achieve someday. It's something you practice today and every day after that. One of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that we can neglect important areas of our lives temporarily without consequence. But eventually, the bill comes due. You can neglect your health for years. The body keeps score. You can neglect your marriage. The relationship keeps score. You can neglect your health or your faith or anything. If it's your faith, your spirit will keep score. You can neglect your children and time keeps score. Everything has a cost. The question is whether you're paying attention before the consequences arrive. As a men's coach, I have seen this over and over again. A man works hard to build financial success, but loses his marriage. Another becomes physically strong, but emotionally unavailable. Another pours himself into helping everyone else, but never takes care of himself. Another becomes spiritually knowledgeable, but disconnected from the people closest to him. None of those men are balanced, and none of them are fulfilled because success in one area doesn't automatically compensate for failure in another. You can have money and still be miserable. You can have muscles and still feel empty. You can have influence and still lack peace. Balance isn't about having it all. It's about aligning your life with what matters most. I think one of the reasons that balance is difficult is because extremes are easier. Extreme diets, extreme workouts, extreme routines, even extreme reactions. Extreme creates the illusion of progress because they're dramatic. Balance feels slower. Balance feels less exciting. But balance is sustainable, and sustainable wins. Anybody can sprint for a day. Very few can stay consistent for years. The men who build extraordinary lives aren't usually the most extreme. They are often the most consistent. Scripture speaks to balance in powerful ways. Ecclesiastes tells us there is a reason and a season for everything. A time to plant, a time to harvest, a time to mourn, a time to rejoice, a time to speak, and a time to listen, a time to work, a time to rest. God created rhythm. God created seasons, and God created balance. Yes, many of us fight against those rhythms. We try to live in harvest season all year long. We try to produce without resting. We try to pour out without filling up. Eventually, we burn out, not because we're weak, but because we're not designed. We were never designed to operate that way. Even Jesus modeled balance. Think about that. The Son of God had an incredible mission. Lives depended on him. Yet, he still withdrew to pray. He rested. He spent time with his close friends. He stepped away from the crowds. If Jesus needed balance, what makes us think that we don't? Some of us wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We brag about being busy. We glorify burnout. We convince ourselves that rest is laziness. But rest isn't weakness. Rest is preparation. Rest allows you to continue the mission. Now, let's be clear. Balance does not mean comfort. It doesn't mean avoiding hard work. It doesn't mean lowering your standards. Sometimes balance requires intense focus. There are seasons when work demands more, seasons when family needs more, seasons when healing requires more balance than static. Balance is dynamic. It's consistently adjusting. It's recognizing what needs your attention right now without permanently neglecting everything else. One question that I ask myself regularly is, what am I overvaluing right now? Because whenever something is out of balance, something else is being neglected. Maybe you're overvaluing work. Maybe you're overvaluing comfort. Maybe you're overvaluing productivity. Maybe you're overvaluing other people's opinions. Whatever occupies too much space eventually pushes something important out. Awareness creates adjustment, and adjustment creates balance. Men often ask me how to know if their life is out of balance. And the answer is simple. Look for what you're avoiding. Look for what you've been postponing. Look for the area of your life that consistently gets your leftovers. That area usually tells the truth. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your relationship with God. Maybe it's your emotional well-being. Maybe it's your children. The areas receiving your leftovers are often the areas suffering the most. Imagine your life 1 year from now. If you consistently invested small amounts of attention into every important area, not perfection, not extremes, just consistency, a little more prayer, few more workouts, a few more meaningful conversations, a little less scrolling, and a little more patience, a little more intentionality. Those small decisions compound, and over time, they create a life that feels whole. So as we close today, I want you to remember something. Balance is not about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about regularly checking your priorities and making adjustments when necessary. It's about understanding that success means very little if it costs you everything that matters. The goal is not to become the richest man, the strongest man, the busiest man, or even the most productive man. The goal is to become a whole man, a man whose faith, family, health, purpose, relationships, and responsibilities work together instead of competing against each other. Because at the end of your life, nobody will care how many emails you answered, how many hours you worked, or how busy you were. They'll remember how you lived, how you loved, how you led, and whether you were present for what mattered the most. Balance isn't found, it's built. One choice, one adjustment, one day at a time. Stand firm, walk humbly, build the man, lead the legacy, and I'll see you next week for the value of bravery. But until then, check out the Northman Brotherhood, and that is on northmancoaching.com, and you can join the Brotherhood. We have three check-in meetings a week and one long meeting every single week. When we get together, we get deep, and we talk about balance. We build each other up. We make sure that we're balanced. I make sure you're balanced. You make sure that I'm balanced. So check out the Brotherhood. And if you guys are going through a divorce and you need to find a little balance in how to deal with all of that stuff, I wrote a book. It's called The First 30 Days. It's an ebook. It is on my website. This book will get you through the first 30 days. It will teach you how to respond versus react. And when you can respond versus react, you are starting to live a balanced life. So check out that book. It is my gift to you, completely free. Go to the website, northmancoaching.com, and pick it up. You want to jumpstart? You want some one-on-one coaching? Same spot, northmancoaching.com, and book your free 60-minute session, guys. Other than that, if you guys are looking for another podcast to check out my buddy's podcast. It's called Sessions and Lessons. It's Joel Rosario and his wife, Glow Rosario. They have an incredible podcast, Sessions and Lessons, Life Unscripted. It is on all major podcast platforms, and they drop episodes every single Sunday and Wednesday. So check them out. Check out the rest of my podcasts on Sundays. Check out the daily devotionals every Monday through Friday in the morning. Other than that, guys, I will see you next week as we discuss the value of bravery. Have a good one.